to another bodgit and leggit video. Yes, we have finally got the car back from sandblasting. I have done a little bit of work on which I didn't film because it's just welding, it'd be boring. But what me and Brian are going to do today is get the engine sat in, get our engine mounts welded in, and basically have the engine in. That's essentially what we're going to do, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it is. I've been roped in again.
Yeah, he's been collared in, kicking and screaming, but anyway. Yeah, this is obviously been undercoated, but it has been sandblasted. There's a few things I knew of it was going to be rusty, and there's a couple of things I wasn't expecting. That's the problem with sandblasting. You just don't know. But to be fair, most of it I was kind of expecting. But what we're going to do is we're just going to get the engine and everything set up, ready to be put in, and then we are going to be put in, which will bring you along for the ride. Now, when you do things like this, you always come across problems. Things should be straightforward. Just like the other day we went down to get Brian's car on the dyno, and one little bracket was moving, which we didn't know, and essentially destroyed the day. Now, we are going to get it sorted, but these things happen, and of course it took us 6 hours to get there, you know, so it was a long day. Just like I'm having problems with this, we got this back from the sandblasters, and we said, okay, let's start welding. Simple, no problem with that. The welder didn't work. Brian then figured out that inside the lance of the welder, everything internally, so all the liners, all the tips and everything was destroyed. So it was like, okay, no problem, let's get new liners, new tips. So we went to get new liners, new tips, the day gone, then came back, pressed the trigger of the lance, welder went bang, wouldn't weld. So we had 2 days without a welder. So we were 2 days behind on this, and things you don't really think about. We just assume the welder's going to work, bang, let's do it. Absolute nightmares. Right, so I'm going to show you the welder in a minute because I want someone, if they've maybe come across this problem before. We've essentially a switch here which controls the voltage. It goes from 1 to 12. Depending on what number you're on, you weld thicker steel with it. Now, what we was having is, on number, I need to be welding number 6, but it kept tripping out. So there's a problem internally with this switch. We then got a new switch, but unfortunately it'll only weld on number 8, so I can't turn the welder down enough. But I'm getting away with it, which I'm going to show you what I'm doing in a minute. But if anyone's come across this problem, Murex, I have a Murex 260-1 welder. Now, the problem I'm having is, I can't do a nice long line of weld because essentially, as I'm welding, the welder seems to switch high and switch low. So it goes from number 8 and it'll shoot up to number 12 and it'll burn loads of holes in. So I have to use a slightly different technique of welding. So if anyone has come across this problem, we haven't had a chance to properly look at it because we need to crack on with the car. But if anyone's come across this problem where they're having an issue with the switch or something, let us know, because from number 1 to 7, the welder won't work. From 8 to 12 it will work. Now it took us more or less 2 days of having problems, but this is the thing, and when you're doing anything like this, if you think it's going to take an hour, quadruple your time.
And often third time is the charm.
Third time is always the charm. But not only that, if you think it's going to be 100 quid, triple it, because it just never goes to plan, as you're going to now see. Right. Did it. Woo, look at that. Right, as you can see down here, what I had to do was, I've had to put individual little spots of weld. Now, it doesn't look as neat as one line of weld, granted, but I can assure you this is still welded, it is not going anywhere. You can always grind this down a little bit and fill it, so you're never going to see it. But the other problem is, I can't do a big long fillet of weld all the way across there in one go, because a couple of things will happen. You'll actually twist the metal up and it won't line up properly, and you can actually start burning a whole circuit, because this at the end of the day is a car and it's very thin metal. Now if you're doing really thick metal, yes, you can do big long lines of fillets and it'll physically look nice. This maybe doesn't look the prettiest welding, but like I said, I can assure you it is absolutely fine. And as you can see from here, I was welding, all of a sudden the welder kicked up and it burnt a hole through there. It's just having a nightmare with it, but I will sort it. So if anyone has come across this problem, just let me know. And you can see this is the other side we did. Now, I've only put these here, I didn't need these here, I've just put these here as just like a load bearing. because the engine bracket's going to have to be welded on here. It just spreads the load a bit more. Because the engine is out, it doesn't particularly take too long to do it, and I said I might as well do it just because, well, I can basically. It's as simple as that really. And I think it will just kind of help the car in general. And the other thing you have to be careful of, you can't just, especially with thin metal, like I said, is just do big long lines of weld, because you'll actually, and especially on really, really thin metal, if you just did a big long line of weld, you'll warp the metal and you'll put too much heat through it and you'll cause yourself an absolute nightmare. So I know there's going to be people that say, well, you know, that weld is, this is how you technically weld a car. You can't just do big long lines because the metal just will not allow you to do it. And like I said, the other thing is, I really do need to turn the heat down on my welder, but unfortunately I can't, because then I can't weld. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this old cross member in to line up our engine. Brian at the minute is just taking off the inlet manifold. So once we've got that off and the engine closer, we will turn the camera back on and we'll crack on. Right, we are a little bit behind because
Liam, why do you always cut my head off? Look at me. Look.
Well, you're too tall. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
If I stand here, like, I look the same height as you.
Yeah, that's a bit better. So anyway,
Right. So we are a bit behind, but we've got a good reason for being behind. It's not that Brian needed a big shit. No, it's we had the cannonball going past.
and in fairness, I was giving you a lot of grief about, like, why are we underneath this car? The cannonball is coming, like, oh, and we had the engine kind of half. Oh,
and there's one, Mercedes, SLR Mercedes. Anyway, yeah, the problem is though, we had the engine at a really horrible angle, and unfortunately it came past at the wrong time. But we had one person come in, he broke down. And I'll put a little clip in here, and I'm going to show in a separate video. Sexy, hey? So you'll see that in a separate video.
Wasn't that great editing? Yeah?
Fantastic. just happened just now.
Yeah, boom!
We've got the engine in place roughly. So I'm just going to quickly show you that. We're going to lift it up and then we're going to crack on.
Yeah.
Sorted. Right, hopefully you can see that. Like I said, we are very lucky that I'm using my existing engine mounts, which is going to save us plenty of time. But what I'm going to essentially do, this is my bracket, and we should be able to get it pretty more or less lined up and then work our way from it. We've taken off the inlet manifolds, we've got a lot of room to play with. Same on the other side. Let me just zoom in on the other side. Right, so as you can see, this is one of our engine mounts. Move the old pipe out of the way. So we can essentially more or less get this into kind of some sort of place, and then we can work which angles and what we need for our engine mounts. We have a slight problem with the gearbox mounts, but that hopefully shouldn't cause us too much of a problem. What we're going to do now is lift it up, and we're going to see where the gearbox lands, and then hopefully get these engine mounts.
I'm not sure, but I think Leon inadvertently like, you know, cut.
Oh, I'll zoom out. Hold on, Jesus Christ! There we go.
Inadvertently cut out the gearbox mounts when he was putting in the floor. Oopsie. So
it was a proper technical decision, which I forgot about. Right, I'm going to film as much as I can, but we're kind of guessing the best way to do this, and because we're lucky enough to have the original engine mounts, we've just essentially mocked up a piece of wood, and we've wedged a piece of wood with the engine. We've taken all sorts of measurements so we know if the engine's going to move. The gearbox is in place and that's not moving anywhere. We're now going to put a jack underneath the engine, and what we're going to have to do is take one engine mount out at a time, lower it down, take all our measurements again, and then set up that engine mount and do the same for this side. Yeah, so there's our new cross member, made out of a lovely piece of wood.
Yes.
Just beautiful, isn't it, Brian?
I think we're going to leave that on for torque.
Oh, you know, definitely. So stop everything from twisting.
See, what people don't realise is, you know, the turning force of a high output engine. You know, some people like to use struts, which is just
too heavy, aren't they? They're too heavy.
The struts is what you put on, you know, a back door. You know, what do you look? Get two before. Get a two before on there.
Two before, piece of wood.
That's right.
With a couple of screws.
A couple of screws is right.
And yeah, so we've taken measurements from everywhere. I'm filming as much as I can, but it's just very difficult because we're working out a lot as we're going along. But what we're going to do now is we've got a jack underneath. I think we're going to undo this engine mount first. So as you can see, we've got three Allen keys there, and then the bolt actually on the engine mount. Remove that engine mount, put it back into the same position, take our measurements, and then put our new toys on. I think that's going to be the best bet. Right, we have to take my dry sump pump off because it's in the way. It's connected to the engine mount just up there, which you can see that green engine mount there. But to get it off, we have a bolt just hiding here where my finger is. But to get that off, we need to take all these three pipes off and also take the connections from the three pipes off just to get that bolt off. And again, I'm not going to be able to film it, but you're going to get the idea of it just being there. And there's the dry sump pump. Right, we have the pump off, which now gives us a lot more room to get the actual engine mount off. It was a bit annoying, but we've got it off. Brian has it in his hand.
Yes.
Just turn around.
Someday soon. Yes.
Now there we go. There's a dry sump. Now that's out of our way, and hopefully we can maybe start filming a bit more of this now. We can see what we're doing. All right, so like I said, we've taken measurements so we know exactly where the engine should be. We've just slightly supported the engine. We're going to take off this mount, and then we're going to take our measurements again and put the new mount on. Well, that's the plan. But we'll see what really happens. That was quite loose. That was a bit scary, that. Now I still need these bolts, and you'll be using these bolts for a new mount. Just want to make sure there's no washers in behind. No. You can see there's a big kind of spacer on this one, which we'd obviously need to put back for a new engine mount. There we go. That is all. And this is our new plate. Which obviously bolts onto here with the spacer in. So I think maybe to bolt this back down, what do you think first? And then put the bar against it.
Well, that's a spacer that came with the kit.
No, that's with the old one.
All right.
So it's just to make it level. You don't get it with the kit, so that might be something to bear in mind if you get one of these kits. And if you have maybe standard engine mounts on this car, you're not going to have that big spacer. Oh, I tell a lie. You do get that with the kit. So there we go. I didn't see that.
So, you know, how do you feel about the ugly one being there in place?
Oh, I'm going to change it. Oh. I'll change it to a shiny one. Right, essentially now.
There is no difference whatsoever, just it's one is shiny and one isn't.
You change that on your stuff?
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. Right. I think we can more or less bolt this kind of through. Right, that is more or less on. So that's going to be like that. We now need to work out how long this pipe needs to be and the angle of this pipe. So maybe if we bring it to the side here, we can get an idea of...
Can we get that out? We
Yeah.
we need to get it out.
Get it out.
Yeah, I think that's screwed down. Isn't
Should
it?
be screwed down, yeah.
So I mean, take that out of the way. You didn't see it now because I
Because
missed.
your boat was in the way.
Yeah.
Are you spinning? Is that a captive knot on that?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
He said I wouldn't take it off.
I said you wouldn't break it off. You was trying to break it.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well, that changes things, doesn't it?
Fucking does change things. Right, we now need to get the measurements because we've lifted this engine up slightly, so this engine is now in the wrong place.
Yeah. And I did a screwy job.
That's the one he broke, by the way. Right, let's get the mounts back, the measurements back.
You can see an up close one, and there is the ledge. Yes. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, yes.
Right, let's just get the measurements. So, we've 275. Well, actually, oh no, we've gone up 1 mil. Which has put that back right to 90 mil. We now have the engine in the right place. We just need to work out how long this pipe needs to be. So obviously, as you can see, it is too long. And we also need to work out the angle of the pipe. And then weld this on and weld that on. But before we do that, we need to cut. If you can just see, right, what I need to do first is I need to cut little notches out of there, which lines up on the actual inner wing of the car. So as you can see, this doesn't fit fully flush. So I just have to cut out these two little angles so this plate here lines up with there. So it's going to be very simple. So we get a marker, line this up. As you can see, just cut out that little kind of L shape on both of them. That will allow this to sit flush. Then we can work out.
Yeah, see, look, hold on and zoom in on that. See,
You
see that edge?
Just see it, yeah, where my finger is here.
Yeah, okay.
It's not flush, we need that because we need to weld this as well.
As you can see, the front edge is just not sitting in right.
Yeah, so it's just a few mil off. So I'm going to cut them out and then we can work out our length and our angle and our girth and our width and our everything. And sound like I know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Yes.
I was educated. And yeah, we'll bang it on, weld it. Brum brum goes the sailor. Did the sailor go brum brum? No.
No, but I once asked the sailor an awkward question.
Oh, you didn't ask him to take him around the back, did you?
No,
What did you ask her to reach around?
No. Anyway, right.
Right, let's get this cut out.
Okay.
Before we get banned from YouTube. Right, so what we've done is we grind down the weld a little bit, and as you see from the beginning of the video, it explains why I had to weld it that way. And if anyone does know anything about this particular welder, why it's doing what it's doing, this is the make here. This is the switch we're having problems with. It will only work on number 8, and it just seems to be as if someone's turning it up as I'm welding. It's an absolute nightmare, but there's nothing I can do with it at the minute because I need to get this car done. But what we're going to do now is we have it, as you can see, kind of more or less right. We're going to mark it, cut it.
Yeah.
Ryan's going to now mark it, should I say?
Yeah.
Give us a kind of a rough idea, cut it and then move it back in the middle and see where we're at with it.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a gap there. I mean, there's a bit of a gap. We could take another bit off here.
No, when you move in the middle.
It's okay,
right.
is it?
Yeah.
So there's, okay, right. Okay, that's very roughly because we'll have to cut it 2 more times probably.
Yeah, you're going to have to cut it a few. This is just to get it kind of...
Roughly right. You know, you've got a roughly...
His mark there.
Yeah.
That'll get us very close. That'll get us 80% close. And then it's just a case of cutting and fine-tuning our cut. So once we've got that cut, we'll turn the camera back on and we'll see what it looks like for the first fit. Right, so after, what, 5 or 6 different cuts, you just take your time. Now, the most probably is a special machine for this, but we don't have it. But at the end of the day, just take your time, do a few cuts, as you can see, just showing you there, we'll get, just move his hands, we'll get a lovely clean weld on that. Oh, sorry. What we're going to do is we're just going to clean down there with the grinder, get a couple of tacks on it, and then we'll film the rest. But as you can see, it looks wonky on the camera, but it's just the way I'm standing. There we go. Straight down, nice in the middle. Sexy.
Right, it'll do for now.
That should be good enough for us to, you see what I mean? You get confidence with it, and then bang, it just goes. And that's why I was just spotting it. Right, we just have that, as you can see, tacked in place because we're going to weld this properly once the engine is out. We have this done. Sexy, sexy, sexy. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this in and we're going to work on the other side. Once the engine is out, we're going to weld up this properly because it's going to be easier to get inside the engine bay. Sorted. Right, I'm just going to put this in. Kind of. Oh, that's hot.
You burned.
Ryan's being arty-farty with the camera. Right. Let's get this bitch in. Oh, look at the gap. Look at you. Oh, man, you've measured it wrong. Oh, should I put the shiny one in?
Oh, put the shiny
one in. Actually, use the washer. Oh, shiny. Hold on. No, I can't. Oh, hold on. Oh, I can. Yeah, it doesn't need the washer. Look at that! Look at that! What's it look like?
Lovely jubbly. It looks pretty good. I mean,
Well, it's a lot more sturdy than the one that came off. We know that much.
it'll be good for a while.
That would be good for more than a while.
Okay, yes, more than a while.
We don't need to do this side, the engine mount didn't break. Should we just leave it like this?
Yeah, it's so strong.
If it's not broke, don't fix it, yeah?
Well, I wish I could learn that myself.
So as you can see, sorry to cut you in there. But as you can see, that's what it's going to look like. We're going to do the same on the other side. And then the engine is in. And if you haven't got, we were lucky in the sense of we had the old engine mount. If you're putting the engine in from scratch, then it's going to be a nightmare. It was kind of a nightmare already, but it'd just be a lot harder. But lucky enough, we didn't have that problem. So now, on to the next side. Right, to the side, lad, to the side. God, they're loose, they're scarily loose. I don't like them. Jesus, man, they're loose.
I know, sure. It was a questionable company who built it anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah. We have to kind of put that straight because people are going to think that now. Maybe Loctite and these go back for the last time.
Maybe.
Because they're a bit loose. Now what I'm hoping is, and we should be okay, we haven't moved it, the measurements are still okay on our engine. Once I take the final bolt off, if this engine twists, then we know we need to sort it out. But if I take the 3 bolts off and the engine doesn't move, I am going to double check my lines, but I think we've been very lucky. The engine really hasn't moved, and we've been very lucky as regards that. These bolts are coming out easy. I can feel there's no pressure on them. This is the last bolt now, so this is the time. If the engine moves, it's not a big deal. We can measure it back, but if it doesn't, even better. As we can see, didn't budge. So that is absolutely brilliant. And we removed the custom mounts. Now, to be fair, that is a serious engine mount. I mean, whoever made that has done a very, very tidy job. It's just we're changing it for a slightly different one, but there is nothing wrong with these. The only reason I'm actually changing these is not because I think these are no good or anything. It's just because the engine mount broke, and it was easier to get the new kit than it was to seem to find these engine mounts. But not only that, I also prefer that the engine is on the actual chassis here rather than actually on the subframe. So it's just kind of, it's whatever.
Show what it was on, where it was last, where it was first rest. Oh, on here.
Here, yeah.
And
we're putting it to here.
Okay,
so essentially, we are moving it to there rather than on here. And what that means is, as you saw from our last video, we put a Group 4 cross member on here. The Group 4 cross member doesn't have this on. Now I could take this part off this cross member and weld it on the Group 4 cross member, but it's just pointless. It's actually easier doing what we're doing now. So what we need to do now is we need to prep this. I'm going to have to grind back this rust again, this weld. Prep this. Once we get this ready, we'll turn the camera back on, and we'll be getting this one in. Sorted.
He's so used to saying the word rust on this car. Oh, we're just grinding this rust back. Okay.
Rust.
Leon, don't film this. This may not work, and I have a reputation to hold.
What, 3 times is the key?
Yeah, and I only did this once.
Oh, this is just the first cut to get it close. Oh, keep that fucking mic.
Oh, thank God it's long enough. At least
It's long enough.
Yeah.
As we can see, I've got a big microphone on this. We keep it
It's like he's prodding me with a giant dildo.
As you can see, it's too long, but that's obviously a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Because if it's too short, you're in trouble. But
you're
that's
frickin' big trouble.
That's where we are now. So a couple more cuts, just like the last side, and we'll have it looking sexy.
Yes.
So I'll just bring it back onto this side. As you can see, that was all done. Once this all gets painted, it's getting painted the same colour as the engine bay. I don't know if I'm going to show me painting the car. I don't know. I mean, unless people want, I can also. We've obviously got a lot of repair to do and rust repair here. Now, I didn't film all this because I thought it might be boring. But if people want me to film how to do the repairs, how to put it out, and to do all that, I will. Just let me know. Let me know in the comments. Right, second cut. Let's see how close we are.
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm nervous.
I think I feel. Me that has to fucking pay for it if it's wrong.
Oh, it's getting close.
No, look.
Now it's not perfect, but it's definitely closer. And you know what they say, 3 times the charm. So here we go for the third time.
Now, like I said, there is most of a special machine for this, or a really clever way of working it out with angles and maths and all this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're going to do it.
Who needs maths and angles and faffy things like that, you know?
Just keep cutting till you get it right.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll be alright, thanks.
And that's what we'll do. It maybe takes a bit longer doing it this way, but the end result is the same, and that's all that matters. And here we see Brian in the wild. This is a rare sight. I have to be quiet. I do not want to spook him, because if I spook him, he will bolt and he'll go missing for at least 2 months. I think I might be able to get closer. Let's see what he does. I have to be careful. He's now gone to the power tools. Unfortunately, we haven't seen him in his high heels, but we maybe get that one day. And he has no makeup on, but that has never been filmed before in the wild, with his stilettos and his miniskirt. But maybe one day we will get that. Third time! What are we looking like?
Pretty good. Pretty freaking awesome, it. Now,
Alright, just move
you
out
know
the
what
way.
they say, 4 times the charge. But to be honest, like, I'd love to weld it at that because
Just slide out the way, let me get it and see what we're
the
like.
angle is pretty good. But obviously it's too close to the
It's just
top bolt.
too close to the top bolt. So the angle and everything is perfect, but as you can see, if we weld that now, we're gonna, well, we won't be able to get the bolt on. So we just need it dropping down 5-6 mil. So we're just gonna, the angle is right, we just need to literally take maybe 2 mil off that. So 4th time is the charm.
Very small amount this time off. So I'm hoping that...
Well, you know what they say, 5th time's the charm. Oh, I think that is absolutely bloody perfect.
Jesus, I mean, I'm really glad I took a small amount off because
Look at that. As you can see, we're now, well, the camera might not show it properly, but we're now a good bit below that bolt. I think that is absolutely bloody sand.
now I think I might have to doctor it a little bit with the small grinder just to get it 100%, but we're very close. We're very, very close.
So what did you say, 5th time's the charm?
5th time, yeah.
Yeah, 5th time's the charm.
There's
At the end of the day, people, even if it takes you 10 cuts, the most important thing is take a little bit off at a time, because it's a lot easier to take away bits than it is to add it. So just take it, even if it takes you an hour, 2-3 hours, it doesn't matter. Get the cuts right, and you will have no problems in the future. Job's done! It's in! Move the engine with me, Brian. Solid.
very...
Let's take our strut brace off the front. Just mark it because I need to put that back, you know, when we use it.
For high power torque.
Yeah, we need
rotational
to use
torque, you know.
Yeah. That's a very performance bit of kit. That's
Yeah.
specialist. You have to send away for that. You can't buy them. As you can see, engine is in, whole car is moving. It absolutely isn't going anywhere
Wait, no.
at all.
Hold on a minute.
Oh yeah. There we go, get down in there. Now we haven't welded this properly yet because we have to take the engine out to finish all that. Because it's just a lot easier, we can stand inside the engine bay to weld it. But I've still got plenty of welding to do here and plates to make and all sorts. So there's still a lot of welding left. 2 days behind because of my welder, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'll bask in the glory of this LED light. Oh.
So that's it. Another video done on this. There's going to be a few more to come. I've still got an awful lot of work on it, but between us we'll get it done. Just might take a bit long, depending on what we're doing, but we always get there in the end. And so yeah, plenty of videos to come. There's videos on Brian's car with the dyno and stuff like that. There's going to be a few more videos on this. So lots to come. Stay tuned and all that. Don't forget subscribe and all that, you know, all that jazz. And yeah, we have sexy new plates as well. So look, hope it helps. Thumbs up, subscribe and all that, and don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.